another day. Just on my way to my martial arts. Oh, it would have been really nice to fly the drone afterwards. Yeah, there's a lot of blue skies and stuff. And I actually checked the UPS, like the batteries, and actually from what I saw online, yeah, everything's been processed and stuff, so it's just a matter of waiting. Although it is a little funny because it says where it currently is, like city-wise, it's not even located like in the city where I actually processed it. So did they ship it that fast from here to there, or is that just like a default, label? Either way, let's see how it goes. And again, I'm in no rush anyways, since all this law stuff is all messed up right now. Actually, today I'm actually interested in trying to find some comments of people, like what they think about the drone laws for people who don't actually fly it. And maybe I'll even ask people I know, like who don't actually fly the drones, but just to see what their initial knowledge is of this law and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm gonna ask an average Canadian. I don't know if you consider yourself average. So
yeah, I'm pretty average.
Okay, if you don't know, this is the watermelon cutting guy, but
I'm over here.
It's my stream.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the dude who cut the watermelon and broke a patio table, much to the lament of his wife.
And it gone viral. Okay, it's kind of interesting because I don't know if he's actually heard of this. Have you heard about the recent news about drones?
The fact that they've been marked mostly illegal by various regulation. Yes.
Okay, he's heard of it. Can you please explain to me, do you think it's reasonable and why?
Yes, because on the one side you had a bunch of guys flying those things around like high rises and just basically spying on people.
Okay.
On the other side, you fly them in the right places. They do show up on aircraft radar.
Okay.
And they just genuinely screw with aircraft radar. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, those things haul people. They can make whatever rules they want.
Okay, so he actually has the average Canadian response to it. Basically, his keywords there were okay, near airport, privacy. That's it.
Yeah.
So how was I okay? See, I'm a drone flyer right now. I'm in a field where there's literally nobody, like human beings or anything like that. I actually, based on this law, if you read it, it says me as a drone flyer, it's illegal, a crime, if there's even an animal near within 75 meters. So if I fly and there's a bird here, even if there's no people in general, it's illegal.
I think that part of the law is more meant for larger animals, basically, like dogs, cats,
You would think, but that's what I'm trying to say.
It's a question of enforcement at that point.
No, that's true.
They'll put a lot of things down in the law to make it a broad thing.
Yeah.
But at that point, it's up to interpretation. If the cop that sees you goes, well, I mean, there are some birds around, but there's no people, nobody's walking their dog, that kind of thing, then they're probably, and you're within that safe distance from an airport, they're probably not going to care.
That's true, but do you think a person like me would want to take the risk? Because did you read what the fines are for that?
Oh yeah, no, the fines are ridiculous.
It's up to $3,000. So even if it's say like I said, like a bird or a duck or something like that,
that's subjective. They're not going to throw the book at you if there's a duck nearby. They're going to throw the book at you if you're beside an airport and you're using it.
I don't know about that, but that's a debate.
Because again, it's up to the judge, right? The judge is not going to be like, you get the maximum fine because there was a chihuahua within 9 kilometers of what the hell you were doing, right? Versus, you were flying that right near an airport. Yeah, you just get the minimum fine. Boys will be boys, whatever that kind of crap that is.
So it's basically, you think it's all about, it's written that way, but you don't think they would enforce it that way.
It's always the way laws work, though. You have. There's, was it spirit and letter?
Okay.
Letter of the law versus the spirit of the law?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's why you won't get, there's always say fines up to this much, because, again, it's up to if the judge looks at you and goes, yeah, he didn't mean anything by it, it was an oops, he didn't know somebody would be jogging through with their dog in this open field where nobody usually is. Yeah, okay. If you had a wanton disregard for the law, that's another story.
So you have kind of the middle ground kind of, you think it's reasonable if it wasn't that by the book, the way it's written?
If like I said, if you got the maximum fine every time, regardless of actual intent, there's a difference between, oops, I didn't realize that was within 9 kilometers, versus,
Oh, you made me edit that.
Just beep it.
Okay.
As long as you don't hurt anybody and you're not messing with aircraft, you might get a stern talking to, right?
So I'll read this comment because this is actually new to me, because I actually wanted to try today to try to get opinions from people who don't fly drones and stuff.
Yeah.
This is actually a common oops, go ahead. Okay. This is actually a common reaction for people, and tell me what you think about this guy's comment. He says,
read it out.
in my view, average consumer has little use for a drone beyond spying on people or doing things they ought not to. I mean, that was the sole purpose of this technology from the get-go. That and taking out terrorist combatants.
I would call that a very narrow view.
But this is actually what most people think, though.
Yeah.
That's why they encourage the law, fantastic, because they think a person
Look at that dude's picture. Tell me if he's at least middle-aged or elderly.
There's no pictures in Avatar.
Oh. Honestly, because a lot of drones. The primary function of those things came a lot from military function, right? Then again, so did the internet.
That's true, actually. That's actually a good point.
It started a lot of the military developed CD-ROMs were military function before they were civilian.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God! Really? You feel special?
It's
gonna turn into watching me road rage.
You know what's funny about that, though? It's people are complaining about drones are dangerous, but I think anything in life can be dangerous, even though there's rules and stuff, right? Yeah.
It's just like I said, people react to new technologies like this all the time, right?
Yeah,
you either adapt to new technology or you don't. Where the law has to come into things is the law does have to keep up with these things, and as a result, the thing is, you can do a lot of dangerous things with a drone. You can. It is certainly capable. Actually, was it the YouTube channel FPS Russia?
Okay.
I actually saw him. He managed to, I think it was him. He managed to modify a drone to carry, I think it was a shotgun.
Okay. I've never seen this before personally.
Yeah, he's not the first. You can rig a drone with a weapon. Whether it's just to drop a heavy thing on somebody, or maybe flying around with just like a bayonet, like just a blade on a stick, or in the worst case, modified to fire a semi-automatic or automatic weapon.
Now that's actually a point I want to kind of dive into a little further, because by the sounds of it, you feel a drone is necessarily like something that's always big that can actually carry objects in for the most part. Yeah?
Well, I mean, if you consider a camera as an object, then yes. I mean, it's not like it's carrying a free-floating camera versus an integrated piece. But at the same time, it can carry a thing.
Do you know what a micro FPV drone is?
Micro FPD.
FPV.
No, FPV.
Okay, that's my example. Like most people would know what the heck is that, correct?
Yeah, probably.
Have you ever seen it's about this big, okay? People fly it, but they do that more for say indoor sport. It actually has a camera on there and everything like that. So would you consider, because with the law, for example, even that, as long as it's over 250 grams, they consider that thing, same thing, illegal and so forth. If you fly it within 75 within an animal, a building and so forth, that is considered illegal.
Yeah, again, it's a question of enforcement.
Okay.
You always make laws broad with the intent of making sure that there aren't any loopholes. Right? A lot of people will look at a law and be like, oh yeah, it's just there to screw people. No. The concept of the law is still to protect people from the actions of others. Again, my point, considering one, I don't fly a drone, but I'm also not an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that, they split out these laws, and they split them out the way they have, and they've given people access to the complete law, so it's not like you can get busted with it just by sheer ignorance.
Well, what happened was they were supposed to introduce new laws during December, have a knowledge test and stuff like that, like a car.
Yeah.
But what happened was this was all of a sudden. There was no public warning. There was no consultation. Basically, the transport minister or someone he says he had nightmares at night that a drone will crash into an airplane. So he immediately, for whatever reason, threw this out it seemed like last minute. And then so he's saying
there are various reports of, and this is a reason why this stuff comes up. He doesn't just imagine this stuff out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There are and I've never seen these, bear in mind, so this is purely anecdotal.
Interesting. Again, he brings up a good point. Again, interesting, yeah.
And these are anecdotal. I'm sure if I did some research or had access to information records, there'd probably be various points of a pilot going, yeah, there's something on the radar, and turns out it's just some guy's drone.
Actually, funny you say that because
you got to remember, there's a reason why there's a height restriction.
Yeah.
Based on operative range of an aircraft's radar, you can pick up a lot of crap. Just the same, if they, by some fluke, impact the engine, one of those things goes through an engine. It's enough to tear through an engine. Like, yeah, engines are made out of metal, but it's all light metal. Because you have to keep the weight of an aircraft down for it to be able to be functional. Right? And, yeah, like, you have to worry about the concept of some guy's drone, because he's just some mook, hitting an aircraft. And if it's a single engine aircraft, that's up. Like, that guy's pretty much gonna die. Depending on how hard he hits the ground. And not everybody's an ace pilot and can handle it. Especially if it's like an amateur, like a guy who owns a Cessna or whatever.
Okay. So what would you think of, like, because one of the conversations for a drone flyer is most people, they only fly 90 meters anyways up in the air. Like, let's say you're flying here right now, like just middle of the park or something like that.
Yeah.
The argument is there should never, ever be an airplane within this area, within that low of a distance. So it's kind of irrelevant. That's what some people say. Like, how would you react to that? In the middle of nowhere like this, there should absolutely be no planes ever, like, within this height.
It largely depends. How far away from the airport?
This one, it's over 9 kilometers right now from the airport.
If we're over 9 kilometers from, and then theoretically, you are within range of people, though. So there's that consideration. If you lose control and this thing flies into traffic, you're either damaging somebody's car or you're causing an accident.
Well, imagine it like right here, like I said, like right in the middle of the park, literally the middle. Like, there's no one there in an open field. That's basically what most people are getting upset about. Like, open field, even though there's no one there, but there's going to be, like, you know.
Yeah. Again, it's a question of whether or not subjective. What the hell word am I looking for?
Interpretation.
It's interpretation. It's up to the cop to interpret your intentions, your actions, and whatnot. Like, for all you know, like. It's not like he's going to cuff you and throw you in the back of the car. He might write you a ticket. He might give you a stern warning and be like, "Look, buddy, I know you don't mean to be like screwing with people.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful. Consider this a warning." And again, that's up to the cop. The cop might be having a bad day. Maybe his dog died, and you're like the first guy he had to deal with. You might have a problem.
No, that's what most drone people say too. Why they don't like the law? That's what. Oh my goodness, it's true. But I mean, for me, anyways, personally, that's the scary thing about it. You're leaving it in the hands of someone's mood for the day, and that's why people want a little bit more clarification, saying like, you know, this is a little ridiculous of how broad it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least, like I said, you actually have the most. You said everything in terms of like what you envision, like the drone is. That's actually the most, in my opinion, the most common opinions and reaction to it, like from the general public.
Yeah.
Whereas this person, you said he's completely nuts. That's what,
I wouldn't say completely nuts, but when you're already assuming that the only reason people are flying these things is for some kind of ill intent, then at that point you're probably just afraid of the world anyway.
That's true, probably. Right, that's kind of an interesting conversation. A lot of the answers was kind of what I expected. Usually it's the main buzzwords. For example, away from building, people, safety. And most people would say like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Although the other key point for that, I feel, is like the point he brought up, for example, was, well, all laws are stupid like that. They're made so broad in general, and then you have to leave it up to interpretation to like the cop. I think that is the main thing like a lot of people are bringing up. Like, it shouldn't be left up to interpretations where it's that broad, where you're relying on someone's like mood for the day, if that makes sense. Driving a car, what if the rule was if you even drive within, what was it, 1 centimeter away from another person or whatever, then you will get a ticket. Like, you could say there again, like, hey, well, no one's gonna give you a ticket because that's stupid. But why is the law written like that in the first place? Like, isn't that a little too weird? Like, to me anyways, that's the main issue that a lot of like flyers and stuff have. The laws are just way too broad and open to interpretation, and where it comes down to someone's personal mood, I guess you can say. In my opinion too, I mean, it shouldn't come down to, yeah, well, it's open to interpretation, it's so broad, just go, like, do it anyways. They probably wouldn't, like, you know, stop you if you're like clearly safe in their eyes. I mean, it has to be really crystal clear, like in terms of what qualifies as, like, say, hey, this guy's dangerous. I mean, I can see, for example, if some idiot is flying near the airport with the plane landing, trying to get, like, for example, literally trying to get like a following shot right behind the plane, and that's stupid. Find that person like $3,000, for example. But for something as simple as flying like a little like drone, for example, in someone's backyard kind of thing, I mean, that's a little overboard. I even ask things like, hey, do you know what like a micro FPV drone is? And that's kind of the answer I expected. It's like, no, what's that? Because again, I feel anyways, people's perception of what a drone is, it's always like something kind of like what he said, like it can carry like a big weapon and all that stuff. I mean, that's just what the average person thinks a drone is. So in my opinion, it just comes down to education, because things like these laws, in my opinion, again, I feel in many ways it's fear-mongering. And you guys thought drones are dangerous. How about a car there? I mean, there's an example. I don't care how many laws you have. There's always going to be idiots like driving bad or whatever. So don't make the laws where it punishes like the law-abiding citizens. Okay, that's about it for now. I'll see you guys later.